So, this is a course called Education in a Democratic Society. This Pecha Kucha is designed to explain all of the learning outcomes for this course. So, it's just overall a summary of the whole course and what we're supposed to learn from this course. The four branches of this course I have sectioned off. The first branch is aims of education. The second branch is the economic, legal, and political context of schools. The third branch is culturally responsive and inclusive education. And finally, the fourth branch is ethics and professionalism. So, starting with the first branch, we discussed development of education. We talked about things like school rules and how people who follow rules will be better citizens in a democracy. We talked about how civics courses can create more patriotic citizens. And then finally, to benefit the economy, one of the goals of school is to create better workers. So these are all focused on the goals of education. Moving on, how do schools reflect, reproduce, and seek to challenge social satisfaction? This was a learning outcome, and we talked about equitable funding, funding that helps parents send their kids to good, proper public schools, and then also inclusive education, inclusive um, curriculum that helps students from all various backgrounds. This overall creates a better experience for everyone. The next branch is we talked about the economic, legal, and political context of schools. We focused on the federal government and its role in public schools, the state government's role in public schools, and finally the local government's role in public schools. So, starting with the role of the federal government provides about 14% of public school funding. It helps create specialized programs like IEPs. And then, along with that, it also focuses on creating equitable educational opportunities in other programs, not just IEP programs. But what are IEPs? They're personalized programs tailored for students with special educational needs. So these cost a lot of money, which is why the federal government steps in to help with these, because it takes a lot of resources to give one student an individualized learning experience. But then back to the state government. The state government's role is to delegate federal funding. They distribute property taxes to school districts, and they set the standards of public education. The local government, they decide spending. They also their main goal is to meet the standards set by their state board of education, so whatever state you're in. The next branch is culturally responsive and inclusive education. So a lot of the time we spent talking about demographics and how do schools respond to the demographic shift, the challenge with language and cultural differences. So how can teachers be uninclusive, um, unwilling to change teaching strategies for different children? They can do this by not adapting to students with different languages, students with different cultures, and then also students with special needs. Um, how can a teacher be inclusive? The main it's obviously it's a case to case basis, but the main thing teachers need to do is create unique environments for all their students, and this is the best way to approach teaching kids with various different backgrounds. The final branch is ethics and professionalism. So this focus on the obligations of teachers, the preparation that it takes to become a teacher, and then also the Ohio educator requirements. So obligations include things like having the knowledge of your area content, having the skills, typically social skills to work with people, the dispositions of teachers, and then also the ethical responsibilities of teachers. So these are the four main focuses of this section. The preparation, it starts with a bachelor's degree. This is the main step, the first step you need to take to become a teacher. Then you need to prepare for licensure exams. And once you've prepared for them, you actually need to take the assessments, and these will be different for different teachers. So, Ohio educator requirements, different education areas have different requirements. So, integrated social studies, you need to take the 003 assessment plus the 025 integrated social studies assessment. And then for something like integrated mathematics, you need to also take the 003 assessment, but then you take the 027 mathematics exam. So, it's different for different teachers, depends what you want to teach. And then finally, we looked at a bunch of cases involving teacher rights. So the three cases I'm going to focus on are Pickering versus Board of Education of Township High School, 1967, Russo versus Central School District, 1972, and then a recent one, Janus versus AFSCME, 2018. So Pickering and Russo. Pickering allowed public employees to critique their institutions, but not individuals. So that was the conclusion of that case. And then the case for Russo made that teachers can't be fired for saying or not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. So that was the significance of those two cases. And then finally, Janus versus American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. This case disallowed unions to collect fees from non-union members, which before this had been done in the past and was justified because unions benefit non-union members as well. So this ended that, and it made that federal or public employees cannot be charged for previous benefits that the union might have made for them. But that concludes this Pecha Kucha. Thank you for watching.